From garage sales to thrift store aisles, we hunt for treasure, stacking them in piles. Hustling hard, making deals all day, flipping finds, turning profit our way. Pure Hustle Podcast guides our quest, learning tricks to be the best. On eBay we make our name, reselling dreams, winning the game. Pure Hustle Podcast guides our quest, learning tricks to be the best. On eBay we make our name, reselling dreams, winning the game.
Welcome to Pure Hustle Podcast. I'm Mike.
And this is Orlando on the live. Can't even pronounce my name for the live.
Again, it's like the second time, man. What's up with that?
It's been a long day, but hey, sorry, I'm reading the comments from Three Things I Resold. It says reselling dreams, winning the game. Yes, that is
great.
Pure Hustle Podcast.
Great line from that song, man. I love that.
All right. Anyways, this is Orlando, and this is the Monday. No, it's not even a Monday. It's a Tuesday live minisode.
We'll just call them our minisodes. If it's not on Monday, it's just a minisode before our Wednesday one. And we are live. And today we are talking about eBay being slow. They've got a very slow pace. They don't move quickly when it comes to changing, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. We're going to be talking about why them being slow might actually be a good thing for them.
Right. Hey, appreciate everybody here. Thank you at the show vids for, yes, I am not Rolando. I am Orlando. So I appreciate that. Hey, Big Trey, what's going on? Appreciate you being alive. Thank you everyone that are joining us right now. We've been back and forth with our lives. We try to be Mondays, but Mike and I and our schedules have been kind of crazy lately, and so we've been going on Tuesday. Next week we will be going live on Monday because we want to catch many of you. I know many of you Tuesday night it's going to be a crazy night because it's election night. So let's talk about why eBay is slow, and that is a good thing. Do you agree with me though on that? Do you think so?
Well, yeah, let's clarify what we mean here. So eBay is not the quickest to make changes. I mean, oftentimes we make complaints about the fact that eBay might promise, hey, we're going to change the way we do payment processing. We are going to change the way we, do this. Or we're going to add this new feature. And a lot of times you hear something and you're expecting like, sweet, like the update will come out like next week and next month, maybe next quarter. And then we're looking on like the next year, 2 years, 3 years sometimes, and changes are slowly rolling out. And even when they do make changes, it's like we're rolling out phase 1 of this change and then phase 2 of this change. And so they don't always change quickly. They're not the most innovative. They might adapt some changes in the reselling world, but they don't necessarily make big drastic shifts in things. But we're saying that that's potentially a good thing for several reasons.
Yeah. And so one of the first reasons I would say that it's a good thing that eBay is slow. I know this is like people are like, oh, we're so frustrated, right? Auto payments. Why didn't you take care of that? eBay, why don't we have live auctions? Well, I think a lot of the reasons that eBay runs slow, I think it's just they're trying to ensure that they are consistently building trust with buyers, right? They're not just off the cuff establishing a new program and then they're having to reverse that, right? And so I think eBay, right, wants to continue being that reliable brand, and they have been that reliable brand since, I don't know, 1999 or whenever they started, right? People know eBay, and we actually are going to talk about this in our long form podcast that drops on Wednesday when we discuss why eBay is still king when it comes to secondary goods, right? But
going with that idea of them building trust with buyers, even like I think of like my mom, for instance. My mom, when I was young, I was probably 8 or 9 or 10 or something like that when when she was using eBay, and she bought a whole bunch of stuff on auctions on eBay. Now there's been some change in the culture, like auctions isn't the main way people buy and sell things as much anymore on eBay. But my mom could go on today on eBay and have a pretty similar experience that she had back in the day. Again, it's not like everything's selling for 1 penny with huge amounts of shipping or things like that. Like there were some changes, but as far as navigating the platform, like we often make fun of the fact that it seems like they're still stuck in like Windows XP or something as far as like their website and all of that. But people can go on and use eBay and then come back months, years later, and they're going to be able to navigate the platform. I mean, there's times when you get an update on your phone and it takes you a week to figure out how your new apps look, and this where eBay kind of stays consistent. And so by building that trust and not making big changes and people having huge negative experiences on eBay because, well, they changed the way they do returns and I had some bad ones and they never come back and then they change it, because that happens too. Like a company will make a change, like think of, what Mercari did or other companies have done, Poshmark, and a company makes a change and then it's bad. And then a couple months go by or a couple weeks go by and they revert back, but people don't know that it changed back to the way it was because they change so quickly. Whereas eBay, it's a little bit slower.
No, and the thing is, it's again, you get frustrated, right? It's kind of like this tension, but I think it's a good tension, right? And the other part of it too is,
I like this.
I saw that.
Yeah, at the show vid said eBay's agile is a battleship. Yeah, we just finished recording our Wednesday episode that's going to go up, but I use that analogy. I talk about eBay is like a big, massive ship in the ocean. Changing course takes a lot of time for them, whereas another, smaller companies can be much quicker with changing course, but oftentimes that leads them to err, right? They change course too quickly.
And 3 things I resold is going right to the next thing I was going to talk about, right? And the 3 things I resold says eBay being slow can help prevent them from making changes and having to walk them back as Poshmark did. And that's exactly it. Like eBay is very data driven, right? eBay has 20 plus years of experience. eBay has been through the ups and downs. eBay's been through recessions. eBay has switched up not their website too much, but they switched up some of their research. They switched up best offers, send offers, like those all took time. And I think that's valuable, right? Because Poshmark's knee-jerk reaction, I think, hurt them, right? It hurt their reputation. The fact that they said, hey, we're going to do Poshmark protection and we're going to charge buyer fees, right? Mercari did the same thing. And I'm sure buyers got on there and they're like, especially people that have been buying from them a lot, going like, what is this? Like, what's going on? And then 2 weeks later to reverse course on that, right? And so it doesn't provide stability, right? It doesn't provide that trust, right? It's just a knee-jerk reaction. And I want to say that Poshmark did a knee-jerk reaction. They probably had some time to think about it. They probably had some meetings. But overall, right, eBay, as much as I'm like, for example, live auctions, like why can't everybody do live auctions yet? Like what is going on? Like why it's been promised for 2 years, right? Whatnot's like taking off on it. But I think part of it is that eBay, right, they want to make sure, hey, the data is showing that auctions is actually a good thing, right? That auctions is profitable. It's actually maybe better for sellers than just being able to list and do best offer. Maybe that's why. I don't know what's holding them back. Maybe they're just trying to protect their brand. But in the end, right, they're not looking for that quick fix, and I think that's very valuable.
Yeah. Another thing, because we talked a little bit about the customer side, but there's actually some stability that's provided for us as sellers as well, because as much as we would love for them to fix our pet peeve issue, right, whatever it is that's bugging us, if they were constantly changing things, I mean, there's a lot of people who are full-time resellers who are in the game. Like they read every update that comes out from eBay. They're paying attention to changes and things. But think about the person who's more of a part-time reseller or even a full-time reseller that doesn't have time to keep up. They kind of want to just be able to keep trucking along and doing their thing. They want to be able to list. They want to be able to set their prices and know their shipping is. And if there's an occasional change that comes through, like, oh, they're changing how they're doing the shipping and the customers are getting part of the profit. Okay, well, that changes a few things. I might have to adjust. Imagine, though, if there were constant changes happening. You would always have to be trying to figure out, like, is my model still profitable? I mean, we already feel the pain when they offer a new ad type. a new promoted listing type, and it's like, okay, now what's going to work? And we're all scratching our head trying to figure out, does this work? Should I try this? Is this better than this? And it takes a little bit of time to figure it out. So by them creating changes that happen maybe like once every year, there's like a change that we all have to spend some time figuring out. It gives us a little bit more stability than if every couple months it's like, okay, now we've implemented this program, now we've implemented this, and you're constantly spending a good portion of your reselling time trying to figure out, how do I best game the system? Am I still have a profitable model? As opposed to just, you know what, I want to be able to buy my items, take some pictures, throw it up on eBay, and know that the shipping policies I have in place and my own, all the things that I have set is just going to work.
And it does. That's the thing. Like, yes, eBay has glitches here and there, but there hasn't been like crazy changes. Now, have there been a lot of changes in the last decade? Sure, there have, right? Tons of changes. Like when I first started on eBay, I remember eBay had this thing where I think they like rated you, right? It wasn't feedback, it was like a different rating on sales, right? And then eBay kind of got rid of that, but eBay since then, right? They've had feedback, they've had the photo feedback, which people haven't really embraced. They've had send offers, they've had best offers, they've had international sales, they've had all these things, right? And for the most part, they've stayed, right? There hasn't been a lot of eBay things that have been introduced that kind of has gone away, right? Once they roll something out, they stick with it. And I think part of that is due to the fact that they move slow, but as they move slow, they're also making sure that they're making good decisions. And so I very much appreciate that, because it would be terrible to like have all these new things and you're all excited about it and then it goes away because for a reason things didn't work out. Now, this is true, right? At the show, Vid says, I wish they'd learn not to roll out any changes in Q4. And I agree with that. I'm not sure. Maybe they feel like it's the best way to get the data that they need. I'm not sure. I don't think there's any crazy changes happening in this Q4. Maybe I missed something. There is, though, winter seller, not a winter, a fall seller update or some update coming up. And we're actually, they did just release, but there wasn't really any changes. Like we didn't even talk about it on our long form podcast coming up. We may talk about it on the update, but there really wasn't much changes. They were just talking about like AI and background removal, and they were talking about, you can take out, a loan with Flex Capital, or Flex Cash or whatever it is, but not much changes, right? Not much changes. And so I think, to me, people will like that consistency, buyers and sellers. All right, and the last thing here, and this is a minisode, so sometimes I feel like we want to go full, but we got to keep it to our 15 to 20 minutes here. Thank you to everyone that's here. By the way, this is an interactive live, so if you ever have questions or something you want to bring up related to reselling, we're open to having that discussion. But in the end, I think the reason that eBay is slow, I think, is they want sustainable growth, right? We've seen it even in the last 4 years. We had the peak of COVID where everything was going wild and there's sales everywhere. Things have kind of slowed down a ton, right? Prices have gone down. We've seen deflation in eBay as far as prices. GMV, gross merchandise value, how much money eBay made as far as selling items has not really changed, but eBay continues to be able to grow, whether it be promoted listings, wherever, which we're not fans of, but it's been sustainable, right? It has stood the test of time, and I think it's keeping itself viable for a long time. All right, somebody has asked about reselling insurance. So yes, reselling insurance is important. It all depends, though, right? There's been times that I've had it and there's been times that I haven't had it, because it all depends. I would say if you sell on Amazon, I think it's very important because Amazon will throw you under the bus. And they've been known to do that. It depends how much inventory you have. It depends. Do you have an LLC? Do you not have an LLC? So to me, it's not whether we have it or not that should guide you. It should be like, hey, look at your business and look at it like, what do you sell to, right? Do you sell high risk items, right? If you sell baby items, or you sell, some kind of like weapon, or you sell something that people can get injured, like I think you got to think about reselling insurance.
Yeah, we actually have a full episode where we interviewed somebody who was a reseller insurance. I think it was their company, or they worked for a company. So yeah, check that one out. If you just type in Bristol Podcast Reselling Insurance, and it's a long form podcast where we talk about a lot of the pros and cons of reselling insurance. So definitely check that one out.
But I would say, like, if you're going full time and you're selling a lot of volume, right? And you want to make sure you're careful. Like, it doesn't hurt to have reselling insurance, right? But also check with your state, check, what works in your state. Sometimes you can get protection from different insurances that you already have, so you may not need reselling insurance. So hopefully that answered your question. All right. Hey, I don't know if there's any other questions, any other comments here. Thank you to everybody that joined us. I know this is short, but it is a mini-sode. We actually stuck to our mini-sode. Usually we go like 30, 40 minutes on our mini-sode, but this time we're keeping to the 15. But I encourage all of you, yes, there's frustration. Yes, there's things that we wish eBay would change and they would be faster about it, but sometimes it's a good thing. And with that being said, make sure to be real.
Be relevant.
And be reselling. Late.
Peace.